Gaetz must be the worst nomination for a cabinet position in American history. This is something that falls well outside the proper scope of deference to a president nominating members of a senior team. Gaetz is not only totally incompetent for this job, he doesn't have character or the civic virtue the founding fathers wanted. The Republican Party should oppose this nomination.
And let's continue the conversation now with the man from the Post you just saw, Ambassador John Bolton. Sir, good to see you today. Let's just start baseline here. Why don't you like Matt Gaetz for AG?
Well, I don't think he's got anything like the qualifications an attorney general needs. He lacks the competence. Frankly, I think he lacks the moral integrity that you need for the position. It's an insult to the people who have worked at the Department of Justice over the years to think that this is a real nomination. And I'd say close to the same with Tulsi Gabbard, who has no background, no experience with intelligence matters, and has said things over the years that have led a lot of people to wonder exactly what her sympathies are toward Russia. So, I think this is obviously they are going to be nominated. That's what President Trump said. So I think now the discussion ought to be what questions ought to be asked and when their FBI full field background investigations are concluded.
Ambassador, what do you think is the impetus then behind, say, these specific two nominations if they are so untraditional and unexpected?
Well, you'd have to ask President-elect Trump that, and he hasn't confided the answer to me. There were very serious lawyers who were under discussion to be attorney general. There were some who were not so serious, but of all the candidates mentioned, I think Matt Gaetz is absolutely at the bottom of the list. And a cynic might say that Trump has put forward Gaetz, and if he gets him, great from Trump's point of view. And if he doesn't get him, well, then the next person, whoever it is, will look like a saint compared to Gaetz.
Ambassador, I'm going to read off some of what President-elect Trump put on Truth Social recently about the selection for Gaetz. He said, Matt will root out the systemic corruption at the DOJ and return the department to its true mission of fighting crime, upholding our democracy and Constitution. We must have honesty, integrity, transparency at the DOJ under Matt's leadership. All Americans will be proud of the Department of Justice once again. That was his post there. Ambassador, the American people have spoke in the majority to put Trump in place to make decisions like this. Should we not give these appointments a chance to be vetted and hear from them?
Yeah, look, I believe as a multiple administration presidential nominee that the president should get deference for his selections. And I think, frankly, both parties have engaged in litigating the election again in the personnel business when that's well beyond the Senate's function. But where the confirmation process does have a role is in weeding out incompetence or people who have moral turpitude or other problems. So I think one way to resolve some of the allegations, and I think people should understand, it is customary for every cabinet nominee and almost all senior appointments, deputy secretaries, undersecretaries, assistant secretaries, to get a full field FBI background check, whether conducted by the FBI or by other law enforcement agencies that are deputized to help out. These background investigations can start now. They can be ready by January the 1st. You've got Republican control of the incoming Senate. They can schedule hearings quickly. And as in most other Republican administrations, you could have people voted on by the Senate on Inauguration Day or the day after. But everybody ought to get a full field FBI investigation. And the sooner they're launched, the sooner they can be concluded. And senators in a classified situation can read the results of the investigations.
Ambassador, we have only a few seconds left, but I do want to ask what your advice would be to President-elect Trump as he comes into the White House for a second term.
Well, I think he's got a lot of international crises that face the country, and I think he needs to keep in mind that to preserve our way of life here at home, you need a strong American presence in the world. And just acting like the rest of the world doesn't matter, it isn't going to serve America. We know what we've been through before when we've turned aside, and we've suffered for it, and our people have suffered for it. So if you want to make America great again, you have to keep it strong in the world. That was what Ronald Reagan did with Peace Through Strength. That's what we need, a big increase in the defense budget, among other things.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Ambassador John Bolton, thank you.